Hey students, in this video I'm going to go over the vocabulary that we learned in 1.1. So these two foldables are the ones we did in class, and I'm just going to try to summarize them once again for those of you who need to listen again to the explanations or you were absent that day. All right, so first let's start with the yellow. On this foldable, you have visual representations of what these words are. And we talked about a point just being a point, a dot with a letter next to that. And what you're going to be doing is identifying or speaking math language in the questions that you may be given. So, for example, you may be just given like descriptions like this where you have to identify the definition, or they're going to ask you just to find things with the vocabulary that you have here. So, a point is just a dot and a letter. A line has to have the arrows at the end in order to be considered a line, just because these look like lines as well. But like this one has two dots at the end, this one has one dot and an arrow, and then this one has two arrows. So you have to distinguish which one's which. A line goes on forever, left and right. A segment has to stop, so it stops on both ends. A ray stops on one end and then goes on forever. So infinity on that side. So line is infinity forever on both sides. You have to kind of distinguish them. Also, the way you write them, it's just two letters. You could have more points in between as long as you give the combination of the letters that you have. For example, here you're going to write a B with the line and arrows on the sides. You could have also done BA as long as you have the notation of arrows on the side. If you just write the line without the arrows, then that will be a segment. So for example, here it will be AB with a segment or BA with a segment. If you have a ray, you have to emphasize that you have a ray by putting an arrow on one side, and you have to give the correct direction of the ray. So A, B is the order, the way of the ray, and then you have to write that arrow. If for some reason you want to say BA, that's going to be wrong because the arrow is pointing that way, not this way. If you wanted to write BA with the ray, you have to write B and then this way because A is over here. So this will be the image for this ray. And even though the arrows are pointing different directions, even though the arrows are pointing different directions, it doesn't matter. This is a universal notation of a ray, the line with an arrow. All right, and then you're going to have opposite rays, a scenario where you have two rays that are going in different directions, either left and right or up and down. So these rays are eventually touching at one point. Like obviously I wrote them here separate parts, but like eventually they'll meet at one point. That point is the one they have in common. So when you write opposite rays, you want to write that point that they have in common first. So like this one will be CB going that way, and then CA going that way. And once again, the arrow might be opposite direction, but you're just writing the notation of a ray, which was explained here. So these two are opposite rays because one's going that way and one's going this way. Okay. The last one on this paper, it's a plane. And this is kind of just like a flat surface, kind of like a paper. A paper is a plane. So whenever we identify things on a plane, you want to look for what it's being given. This A is attached to that point, this C is attached to that point, and this B is attached to that point. This P is by itself. So that's speaking to you. That's telling you that this plane could be called plane P because it's identifying the plane as the letter that's by itself. Also, a plane can be called plane and then a combination of the points that it has. A, B, C, because A, B, and C, point A, B, and C are on the plane. All right, so that was the yellow notes. The red pink notes also kind of point out some of the words that we already talked about, but it also goes over collinear points and coplanar points. So collinear, coplanar, then whenever you see the word co, the letters co, think of two or more, but technically two. So for example, here, we want to look at this image and answer these questions. Two other names for line. This is a line, AB. So AB is right here. So picture the line with A and B right here. And it happens to have another point. So another name for this line could be a combination of AC, or it could also be BA going backwards. So you could have had BA going backwards. You could have also had AC or CA going backwards. And also, if you notice, there's a little letter attached to the line without a point emphasized. So that letter is also the title for it, line N. So that's an example for that. Two other names for plane A. So Z is the letter by itself, so plane Z. And then also a combination of the letters, we could say plane A, B, C, E. 3 points that are collinear. So 3 points that are collinear. Points are just giving the letter. Collinear means they're in the same line. So picture a line with 3 points on it, which we are able to just see that here, A, B, C. So we're going to say A, B, C. Point A, point B, point C. This one says 4 points that are coplanar. Coplanar meaning on the same plane. So look at the plane. There's a point right here on the line. Well, 3 points right there on the line. That one, that one, that one, that one. All of those are inside the plane. That one's not. So therefore, D is not at all should be mentioned. It's just A, B, C, and E. A, B, C, and E. So coplanar and collinear just means that they have to be together. Another name for this is segment, because there's no arrows, segment BC. So you gotta just look at B and C and say, oh, what's another name I can say here? You could go backwards and just say CB. Last one, you have two rays with the endpoint of B. So if you look at the image, you have a line, point B is in the middle, point C is above, point A is above. So you have two rays happening here, one going this way and another one going that way, and they're both meeting at point B. So you're gonna say BC with the ray sign, and then you're gonna say BA with the ray sign. All right, so hope this video helps you with vocabulary.